Hillary Clinton, according to pollsters, is all but assured of finishing her sweep of the South by picking up wins tomorrow here in Florida and in North Carolina. Her husband, the former president, has just finished a brief Jacksonville campaign visit on his wife's behalf.
Bernie Sanders is going to try to stop her by replicating that stunning victory he had in Michigan last week. He's hoping to win 3 crucial states in the Midwest tomorrow. Let's take a look at the countdown clock. The polls open in 13 hours at 7 a.m. If you're a registered Democrat or Republican, be sure to get out and vote. We are covering every candidate ahead of tomorrow's primaries, and election officials are getting set for a very busy day. It's expected voter turnout could reach 45% here in Jacksonville and even higher in at least one of the surrounding counties, St. John's. That's where we begin with Channel 4's Jim Pickett. Jim?
You know what they're hoping for, not having any problems here. As you had mentioned, voter turnout here is going to be around 58%. That's one of the highest that I have heard. Now, the only problems really that we're hearing is that this is a closed primary. You have to be either a registered Democrat or Republican to vote. And it seems a lot of people who aren't registered really want to vote.
The small group of people here in St. Johns County are reviewing the absentee ballots which have been sent in. They're looking for problems with signatures that may not match. They're tabulating the absentee votes, but the results will not be released until tomorrow. Election precincts are also being set up tomorrow morning in St. Johns County. Supervisor Vicki Oakes says their biggest problem so far is the number of people who can't vote tomorrow.
Am I eligible to vote? Because of the 165,000 voters in St. Johns County, 40,000 of them are not eligible to vote in this election. So some people think they're registered with a party and they're not, because they made a party change a few years ago and they've been voting only in general elections. We're seeing a lot of that now.
It's the same case in Duval County. For Mike Hogan, this is his first major election as supervisor. So far, about 20% of the eligible voters have cast ballots in Jacksonville. The canvassing board here is also reviewing the absentee ballots. So far, 338 have been rejected. The votes won't count because the signatures are questionable. Hogan says they are setting up voting sites right now across the city, which will open at 7 tomorrow morning. The call center is now open, and it's very active with people asking about where they can vote and even if they're eligible.
Well, we're hoping they don't show, because as I mentioned, I sent that card to everybody that was registered and wasn't a Republican or Democrat, but they're still showing up. And so we'll go through the records with them. At the end of the day, though, we won't turn someone away. They'll allow them to vote a provisional ballot, and then we'll look at those as a canvassing board.
And for the most part, those provisional ballots aren't going to count if you're not a selected party, correct?
That's correct. If the evidence shows they're not a member of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, then that ballot's not going to count.
And back out here in St. Johns County, we've been watching as some people have been walking up, dropping off absentee ballots, because if you can't make it to the polls tomorrow, well, you can vote absentee, but it has to be an emergency. You have to fill out a form saying that's the reason you can't make it there. What type of emergency? Well, the law really doesn't specify. So as long as you fill out that form, you could vote absentee at various locations. We're live in St. Johns County. Jim Pickett, Channel 4, the local station.
Within hours of the Super Tuesday voting 2 weeks ago, they sprang up like mushrooms on a wet lawn. Campaign commercials on local TV and radio stations, as has now become a long-running tradition. Most of the ads are negative. Channel 4's Scott Johnson has been out doing some of his own unscientific polling on reaction to what many regard as mean messages. Scott?
Well, Tom, they are all over your airwaves for every candidate and against every candidate. One thing I'm hearing from voters is that they collectively don't like all the negativity. Still, the amount of negative ads on TV are starting to eclipse positive ones more and more.
Corrupt Marco Rubio. Former students say Trump University was a scam.
Political ads are bombarding the airwaves going into tomorrow's primary, and a whole lot of them are designed to tear down another candidate. I talked to numerous voters about this, and I heard a universal sentiment. They don't like the negative ads.
I just know that Trump's is pretty awful most of the time. I've seen one of his for Rubio. I think it was Rubio or something.
Where Rubio hits him or he hits Rubio?
He hits Rubio.
I would prefer to hear the more positive ones as opposed to negative, negative, negative. It turns me off to somebody who wants to participate in in voting?
I think some are ridiculous in their attacks. And, I mean, for somebody like me, I already made up my mind, so I don't think there's anything that they can say that will make me change my mind.
Now, while I heard uniform unhappiness with political ads that are negative, the reality is advertisers make them for a reason. Renee Daigle is an advertising specialist with Daigle Creative who says advertisers use negative ads a lot. She gave me this staggering trend, saying in 2008 around 50% of ads were negative. That number grew to more than 60% in 2012, and she says it's expected the number will be closer to 75% negative in 2016.
I'm probably one of those people who says I hate negative ads, but they're interesting. You can't help but be interested by them. While negative ads seem interesting, you've really got to think about the end result. People don't really remember the facts that they heard. They remember how they felt at the end of the spot.
And there's an interesting trend I've noticed this campaign season. Back-to-back ads that are the opposite. It supports a candidate, then 30 seconds later, another ad that's against the candidate. Coming up at 8 in our election special tonight, I will speak to Daigle again about that issue. She says it's a big problem for advertisers and should not be happening. Yet it is. That's tonight at 8. For now, though, we're live. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Scott, thanks. Senator Marco Rubio returned to Jacksonville today to rally support the day before Florida's crucial Republican primary. His first stop today, right here at Channel 4. Tarek joining us now with what Rubio had to say. Tarek.
Well, Joy, even though Marco Rubio is down in the polls, he's confident that Florida voters will, quote, shock the country tomorrow and make him the winner. The Florida senator began his 4-city campaign stop today, hoping to shift the momentum his way. Rubio told us this morning here at the Channel 4 studios that there's still 10% of the population that is undecided right now. He said he's concentrating on gaining the support of those voters and getting others to see things his way. Rubio says he's the only real leader on the Republican ticket, and he says he is a true conservative. Viewers wanted to know how he would grow the economy if he were president. Here's what he had to say.
Well, actually government doesn't grow the economy. The private sector does. The job of those of us in public office is to pursue policies that allow the economy to grow. So that means tax reform, and I've outlined that on our website, marcorubio.com, rolling back federal regulations, balancing our budgets, saving Social Security and Medicare, fully utilizing all of our energy resources, and repealing and replacing Obamacare.
Now, when asked about Donald Trump and if he could support Trump if he became the nominee, Rubio said it's getting harder every day. He says Trump's language is vulgar and dangerous. Trump leads Rubio by double digits. When asked if he will drop out of the race if he loses Florida tomorrow, Rubio would only say that his team hasn't talked about that at all yet. Tom?
Thank you, Tarek. Former President Clinton just wrapped up a campaign rally for his wife in Northwest Jacksonville. He addressed a crowd of supporters at Zion Hope Baptist Church. Channel 4's Ethan Calloway listened to this speech. He's joining us now live. Ethan, this was Mr. Clinton's second local stop of the day.
Tom, President Clinton first stopped at the Ironworkers Union here in Jacksonville today before making his way here to the church in Northwest Jacksonville. This was classic Bill Clinton today, charismatic and commanding as he told anecdotes and stories about his and Secretary Clinton's life together. But he quickly transitioned to the issues of this campaign, of this election season: gun control, job creation, education reform, racial inequality, protecting the country from terrorism, you name it. He touted his wife's record on those topics, pointing out her decades of public service before ever holding public office, saying she's really made a positive impact on the country for decades. He ended by saying the country needs change, and he said his wife is the person to do it.
We need a world-class change maker, and she is the best I have ever known. Be out there for her tomorrow. God bless you.
And back out live, Hillary Clinton still holds a significant lead here in Florida over Bernie Sanders. But of course, President Clinton is here crisscrossing the state, trying to make sure those supporters get out and vote. Of course, she has a stronghold on the African-American voters, and they're hoping to make sure all of those voters and then some get out to the polls for the primary tomorrow. Reporting live in Northwest Jacksonville, Ethan Calloway, Channel 4, the local station.
Thanks, Ethan. Well, other candidates spent the day campaigning ahead of the final sure run for the presidential nomination. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump beefed up security at a rally in Tampa, but that didn't keep a protester from rushing the stage. That man was among a handful of protesters forcibly removed during the first 20 minutes of Trump's speech. Mitt Romney shared a stage with Ohio Governor John Kasich. Romney says Kasich is the only Republican running who has a real track record. Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz is still on the hunt. Today, he vowed to support Trump if Trump were to secure the Republican nomination. And Bernie Sanders rallied support in Akron, Ohio, ahead of tomorrow's contest against Hillary Clinton in the Buckeye State. Join us tonight at 8 for our presidential primary preview, The Road to the White House. Local political insiders will discuss the keys to winning the region and the state. Then on election night, our live coverage begins at 7 with a webcast on news4jax.com. We'll bring you the results as they come in and updates from campaign headquarters around the state. You can also get those results right on your phone and other mobile devices with the News4Jax app.